Last summer, I wrote an article for a site called The Odyssey. It was titled Seeing Your Beauty Through Your Hurt, and subtitled We All Have Internal Scars. This is a little bit of what I wrote. Though I have never really had any physical scars, I've always been fascinated by them. They're all so different and beautiful in their own way, and carry their own story. Though they've come from a place of pain, they all bring a more unique quality to their host. As a writer, I give many of my characters physical scars that also carry an internal scar along with them. I feel this is a beautiful metaphor. We often feel defined by our past, that all the mistakes we've made and hardships we've been through make us who we are. However, we are so much more than that. We cannot allow who we've been to affect who we can be. We have to keep looking forward while still keeping in mind the lessons we've learned in the past. Scars are not burdens, they are reminders, and they can teach us so much if we only paid attention. Our scars definitely make things difficult, but they can't stop us completely. We can linger on them, give them the attention they want, or we can embrace the struggles we face and learn from them, realize how beautiful and strong they've made us. Now, in order to bring this into a little more depth, I'm going to compare two characters, both of which have scars, external and internal. The way they've dealt with their scars are very different. The characters I'm going to show you are from the film Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Now, since I'm sure this room isn't filled with geeks about this movie like myself, I'll give it a bit of background. The ape on the left is Koba, and the ape on the right is Blue Eyes. Koba was introduced in the film previous as a very intelligent chimpanzee that had been experimented on numerous times by humans, which is what caused the scars all over his body. Blue Eyes is introduced in this film as the son of Caesar, the main protagonist. His scars are from being attacked by a bear while hunting at the beginning of the film. After hunting, the apes return to camp and Blue Eyes looks at his deep wounds ashamed. Koba then walks over to him and signs something very poignant. He signs, "Scars make you strong." I've always loved this line because I thought, yes, it's true, scars do make you strong. Then after thinking for a bit, I thought, but they don't. It's not the scars that make you strong, it's the way you view what gave you the scars, how you handle it and learn from it. If you don't and let it fester inside, you end up like Koba. Koba went on in the second film to become corrupted by his view of humans. He wanted revenge so badly that he was willing to kill his fellow apes. If you linger on what has hurt you, you will only end up hurting yourself even more, and possibly others. You can't possibly continue to move forward in life if you're constantly looking back. Blue Eyes was different. While his scars seemed more external than Koba's, he simply had a different sort of scar, on the inside. It was disappointing his father. When he received his scar, it was because he disobeyed Caesar's orders to stay put. He wandered off and got attacked by a bear. While Caesar went to defend his son, it was Koba who killed it, saving the two. Caesar showed disappointment in his son for not following his instructions, and from that point on, Blue Eyes struggled with obeying his father's orders. Throughout the film, Koba manipulates Blue Eyes, convincing him that humans are wicked and deserve to be killed, and that Caesar is blind to the truth. For a while, Blue Eyes believes him and becomes skeptical of his father. He follows Koba while refusing to help the humans with Caesar. It isn't easy to overcome the things that have hurt us. We most likely will struggle to see the lesson behind the scar. Like Blue Eyes, fear will try to convince us that it is far better to let the pain eat at you from the inside out, because it is the easier option. But if we face it directly and try to see what we can learn from it, it makes it that much easier to move on. Blue Eyes slowly begins to see the chaos and harm that Koba is causing, and learns that the lesson that the event which gave him his scar taught him, to follow his father. Once he realizes this, he knows that what his father is doing is for the best. This is very similar to our walk with God. We can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control our reactions to them. If we just take a step back and try to see God's light in our darkest of situations, we'll be able to build off of them, to make the most of them. It's no secret to God that we're all imperfect, and that we get angry and upset. He gave us these emotions so that we can express them. However, there is always unhealthy ways to use what God has given us. While Blue Eyes did end up doing what was right and learning what the bear attack taught him, he did do quite a bit of messing up to get to that point. He was angry with his father and opposed him. However, when he went back to Caesar, asked for forgiveness, and admitted his wrongs, his father was waiting with open arms, as our Father will do for us.
Could you put your works cited page back up? It was just so very quick. Thank you.
So Tori, are you Christianizing Dawn of the Apes?
I think there are a lot of Christian elements in it. I think Caesar is very much in the new ones, he's very much a Christ figure in that, in his leadership of his people.
Who is your favorite character? Was it the Blue Eyes or I forget the other one?
Koba, I really like Koba as a villain. He's a very good bad guy, but Blue Eyes is probably my favorite character in the franchise. Yeah.
Okay, I want to go back to Christianizing it. What do you think are the universal truths in the movie?
I think the overall theme of the movie, at least in the second one, is forgiveness. And because there's this symbol that they have when they do something wrong in Caesar's eyes, they hold out their palm and he swipes it. And it's like to wipe them clean. And I think that whether it was intentional by the writers or not, this is very prevalent in our relationship with Christ, that though we do things wrong, the only, issue is that Caesar does struggle to forgive his subordinates sometimes. And I don't think God struggles necessarily to forgive us. But I think it just shows how forgiveness can be hard for us as humans, but God will forgive us no matter what.
I'm seeing some parallels to Prodigal Son in there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was going to mention that, and I completely forgot, but Blue Eyes definitely does have some, his story does, because he does. He goes and he completely abandons all that Caesar valued, and then he comes back and he doesn't expect to be forgiven, and he does completely.
So if someone's not a Christ follower, what do you think they walk away with? What themes that could speak and resonate with them? Would you say?
I know that there's a lot of voice in the fact, of leadership and how to lead a people when there's been some sort of rebellion, and because he does forgive everyone until it gets to that point where forgiveness just isn't enough anymore, where they've just made too many mistakes to be forgiven and welcomed back into their society. And I don't want to spoil anything, but so, yeah.
Did you read the reviews of the movie?
I did not. I know that this one was very acclaimed, especially for a sequel, because it is a sequel to Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It was very critically acclaimed, and honestly, I think I liked the second one better than the first one. But I know, because they are planning, the third one of this is coming out this summer, due to popular demand.
I'm just curious if the reviews share the spiritual tone that you communicate.
I have not looked into that, but I definitely will. I haven't thought of that.
Kind of like the vampire movies, you know, with some spiritual tone right here.
I'm curious because you wrote about the overall theme of scars. Have you, and most of your works were having to do just with the film, but have you also read some books about, you know, how do you deal with your past and things that have been difficult? And
I read a book for a Bible study called Fearless, and it was a lot about the author of the book witnessed a school shooting, and so it was her overcoming that trauma, like the trauma of that, and so she didn't necessarily talk about scars, like internal scars, but it was definitely something that she was working through, and I would absolutely look into more books about this and like the spirituality behind it.
Any other questions?
Margaret.
So you said you personally don't have any physical external scars. So what kind of piqued your interest in that sort of representation of the external to the internal if you don't yourself possess a scar?
I think I kind of came across it as an accident, really, because I noticed that a lot of female protagonists or antagonists don't have scars. They usually have male characters having scars because they're tougher and it makes them, look stronger. So I started making female characters with scars, and then started seeing how it could affect them internally, and then it kind of just slowly came together. I'm like, these could seriously connect, and then I just looked into that more and started making more of my characters with external and internal scars. So, yeah.
So Tori, you're a media writing major. What does this, what does this study or this approach mean for you going forward?
I think, like I said, just with like characters and being able to try to more carefully analyze hurts and hang-ups that they have, and try to make connections with physical damage versus emotional damage, and try to make them deeper as a whole.
Okay, thank you, Tori.